The NHL has begun unveiling their top 20 players list, and the Wild so far have 4 players in the top 20 at their respective positions. After the goalie list comes out, they're bound to have a couple more.
You're Locked On Wild, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Wild, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm Seth Toupal. On today's episode of Locked On Wild, we discuss where Filip Gustavsson and Jesper Wallstedt should be placed on the NHL's top 20 goalies list. We'll look at where Brock Faber and Quinn Hughes slotted in the top 20 defensemen list, and Matt Boldy and Kirill Kaprizov making the top 10 as far as the forwards are concerned. Top Wild players, a big part of today's show. Joining us today is Alex Micheletti. And Alex, this is always an interesting list to dive into that the NHL puts out on a yearly basis. And it's always just a fun kind of a talker to just look at where the Minnesota Wild have players sitting. And this year, plenty of Minnesota Wild players so far. Let's start with the forward list, which looks like this, and I'll start at 20 and I'll go all the way up. The top 20 wings in the NHL right now, starting first at number 20, Lucas Raymond of the Detroit Red Wings. At 19, Cutter Gauthier of the Anaheim Ducks. Brady Tkachuk of the now Florida Panthers comes in at number 18. Clayton Keller of the Utah Mammoth at 17, Jay Gensel of the Tampa Bay Lightning at 16, Marty Necas of the Colorado Avalanche at 15, Sam Reinhart of the Panthers at 14, Brandon Hagel of the Lightning at 13, Artemi Panarin, now of the Los Angeles Kings, formerly of the New York Rangers. That Kings team, by the way, they're long in the tooth, but they'll be an interesting team to watch. Kyle Connor at 11 of the Winnipeg Jets. Then your top 10, William Nylander of the Toronto Maple Leafs at number 9. Cole Caulfield at Nylander is 10, excuse me. Cole Caulfield of Montreal at number 9. Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers at 8. Jason Robertson of the Stars at 7. Matt Boldy slots in at number 6, sandwiched in between 2 Dallas Stars. Mikko Rantanen at number 5. Mitch Marner at number 4. Kirill Kaprizov at number 3 on this list. David Pastrnak of the Bruins at number 2. Nikita Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning at number 1. First off, Nikita Kucherov, I think, is the correct choice at number 1. He has been arguably the most prolific scoring forward in the league for basically his entire career. Just a monster as far as assists and goals are concerned. How do you feel about Kirill Kaprizov at number 3?
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Some would say maybe a little bit high, but I think he's right there. I'm sure Dallas Stars fans would think opposite. They'd probably think Robo's right up there with them. Yeah, we'll see with Rantanen. It came out that he was pretty banged up and had that knee injury, and so he didn't look quite the same in the playoffs compared to the year prior when he just destroyed Colorado. But yeah, I think it's nice to see Boldy getting recognition, right? That this past season was just an absolute breakout, and he starred at the Olympics. That goal he had was just incredible against Canada. Just sparked them for that game, and we go back to that playoff series against Vegas, and that's where he really said, I can take over games and be that power forward. So yeah, nice to have a couple Wild guys in the top 10 there.
It really felt like this was the year, like this past calendar year for Matt Boldy was really when his game started to gain the attention it deserves. Like you said, that series against Vegas was far and away one of the best players on the ice. And he translated that into a really strong start to the season that went to a really good Olympic tournament for him. Came back and was just as good in the second half of the season, and then was great against the Dallas Stars in round one. And the thing that I have to frequently remind myself is that he is just 24. Like we have not even necessarily seen the best that his game has to offer, and so over the next couple of seasons, it is very possible that he could slide even further up this list and could even hop over Kirill Kaprizov as far as wingers are concerned, if he avoids those major injuries and his career just continues to kind of traject upward like it has been.
And brilliant that he's on half of what a lot of the top players are making. It's just an absolute steal at that 7 million mark when you see guys like Leo Carlson getting that double
18.
that. Yeah, and Macklin Celebrini, and I mean obviously they're going to be elite players at some point, but their teams are betting on them that they're going to get to the Matt Boldy levels, Kirill Kaprizov's, the Kucherov levels, but yeah, they're paying them a lot. And then you look at a decor of the Ducks, and there's nobody there other than Jackson Lacombe. Lacombe is going to be on an island back there for the Ducks, so we'll see if they can keep that going. Because you mentioned Cutter Gauthier needs a new deal too, and he's going to look at Leo's deal and saying, Anaheim, you better pay up if that's what you got, my buddies. So yeah, just interesting, and it's nice to have Boldy on that contract when you're paying Kirill all that money, and then also going to have to pay Quinn. So to get him and Eck where they are is just great work by Bill Guerin.
And it's funny because even since Kirill signed his deal, I think now this is not the case for everybody, but I think by and large, the reaction to his deal has the temperature has gone down a little bit in reaction to his contract, because it's already been outdone twice, and it's going to be outdone several more times over the next couple of seasons with players that have deals that are set to be coming due. As far as Kirill is concerned, I had thought, I wanted to get your reaction to this. I think as far as Kaprizov goes this past year, there was a lot of disappointment with what he did as far as production is concerned. I think because this was the first time in probably his career that we just didn't see his game kind of take a leap, like he was going up a flight of stairs. This was the first season in which he just had kind of an average season by his standards as far as numbers are concerned.
Yeah, very polarizing season, right? And that at some stretches he wasn't scoring, but he was still putting up points. He was getting assists. And he's been banged up over the past couple seasons, and he's got to stay healthy. Otherwise, you don't want that contract to be an albatross, right? But he kind of had all the leverage, right? They needed to pay him, and thankfully, like you mentioned too, some of these other contracts have outdid his, and the pressure's a little bit off him. But he's also going to have to figure out life without his best buddy and Matt Zuccarello, and maybe this Shabanov can get adjusted finally to NHL life. He had a rough first season out there on the island with Patrick Waugh and the Islanders there, and from all the reports, it sounds like Kirill's agent just gave the Wild Shabanov. I know they had interest in him before, and I mean you see the highlights, the Michigan goal out in the KHL, and it's a different world out that way. But we've yet to really seen it translate after 1 year in the NHL. But maybe playing with Kirill unlocks both of them, and they enjoy Moscow on the hill together after.
I love that one of the first responses to this this post of the top 20 wings from NHL media on X. What has Boldy done to be so high? He should still be in the teens at highest. Potential isn't actual, with the F for factual in parentheses. And every comment on that post is some iteration of, have you not actually watched him play? He's been an absolute stud. Or did you watch his entire season with your eyes closed? Like, this is the funny kind of dichotomy between like players on maybe, or fans on maybe one coast, like the East Coast in particular, who just don't have a chance to watch him play on a nightly basis, who just are like, oh, well, my favorite player should be on this list. As is pointed out by a Wild fan that's a regular listener of Locked On, gold medal winner, 40 goal, 90 point guy, plays on the penalty kill, also plays on the shutdown line for the Minnesota Wild, can win draws when he needs to. He does a lot. He does an incredible amount, and I think it's just time. It's time that people start recognizing all the things that he can do. And if you feel like your favorite player got robbed, just keep in mind that somehow Brady Tkachuk made this list, even though he's likely going to be hurt for 30% of the season. Or as Locked On Senators and just the Senators fan base in general has started calling him, Trady Tkachuk.
It's gonna be weird seeing him wear that uniform, right? With his
I
brother.
will not get used to it at all.
No, it was shocking that because it just randomly happened, and we were like, "Whoa!" And then everybody was waiting for the Locked On Senators reaction videos, which were just brilliant. Those guys do an awesome job, and we've talked about in previous episodes too. Matt Boldy is getting a lot more recognized, and I think a lot of it has to do with acquiring Quinn Hughes too, and the attention that he brings. And I mean, that goal he scored against Canada, where he just split the D, it was just incredible.
Yeah,
and that's the best on best minus Kaprizov and Kucherov and those guys in Russia, but. That game was absolutely electric, and I thought he was one of Team USA's best players throughout the throughout the tournament there in Italy, and that's with getting Quinn, it's going to attract more of those top forwards and that want to join, and not only just wingers but centers. I mean, look at Dylan Larkin. He's he continues to work out with the Hughes brothers there in Michigan, and from what it sounds like, none of the other finalists really have as much interest that the Wild have, and the Wild can maybe make it work better than Vegas and Florida. Just I don't see it working at all unless they try to sell a bunch of guys, and I don't think they want to get rid of Anton Lundell. I would say no to that. So
nope.
Yeah, it's very, very, very interesting, and I think when you look at Matt Boldy too, maybe he's a little bit more reserved, and maybe that's why he doesn't get recognized as much as like the Tkachuks, because they have their own podcasts and they're loud. They're going on Pat McAfee and that sort of thing, and maybe that's kind of why he flies under the radar too. But you laid out his accolades. Enough said, right?
He has done plenty as far as I am concerned, and it's about time that he start getting the recognition that he deserves. Speaking of the recognition he deserves, a couple of Wild players have made the list as far as the top 20 defensemen are concerned, and I can just about imagine what the reaction is going to be to one of them on this list. So we'll take a look at two Minnesota Wild defensemen that have made the top 20 list for the NHL. That's coming up as we continue today's episode of Locked On Wilds right after this. Today's episode of Locked On Wild is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who is hitting a home run today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. The Minnesota Twins continuing to try to stay in the wild card picture, but losing games to the Baltimore Orioles is not going to help their cause. As far as players that have been on hot stretches, Josh Bell had a monster game in game 1 of that series. And for the Twins, here's one that I'll give you as a prediction. Just called up with the team, had his first home run against the Milwaukee Brewers. How about Kalen Culpepper to hit a home run today if you're looking for a Twins pick to put into your lineup? Kalen Culpepper. That's my selection for today. So are you ready to play your game? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a home run. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. Welcome back to today's episode of Locked On Wild. Once again, we thank you for making Locked On Wild your first listen each and every day. Again, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any new episodes as we move through the rest of the off season. Hard to believe we're less than 2 months away from the start of the season. It's closer to like 6 weeks to the start of the season. So it's coming around the bend right before we know it. It'll be here. So gear up and get ready. The entire month of September is going to be a very full look at the season. We'll do the burning questions like we have done in the past, looking at all aspects of this team, gearing up for the season. So keep an eye out for plenty coming up, plus some surprises along the way as well. Alex, let's talk about the top 20 defenseman list for the NHL, and a couple of Minnesota Wild names on the list. We'll start, though, at number 20 with Devon Toews of the Colorado Avalanche. Number 19, Shea Theodore of the Vegas Golden Knights. Number 18, Victor Hedman of the Tampa Bay Lightning. 17 is Jackson Lacombe of the Anaheim Ducks. 16, Josh Morrissey of the Winnipeg Jets. 15 is Roman Josi of the Nashville Predators. Number 14 on the list is Brock Faber of your Minnesota Wild. Number 13, Adam Fox of the New York Rangers. Number 12, Jacob Slavin of the Carolina Hurricanes. Number 11, Charlie McAvoy of the Boston Bruins. The 10 best defensemen according to the NHL. Evan Bouchard of the Edmonton Oilers is 10. Number 9 is Mo Seider of the Detroit Red Wings. Number 8, Jake Sanderson of the Ottawa Senators. Number 7, the young phenom Matthew Schaefer of the New York Islanders. Number 6 is the other young phenom, Lane Hudson of the Montreal Canadiens. Number 5 is Miro Heiskanen of the Dallas Stars. Number 4 is Rasmus Dahlin of the Buffalo Sabres. Number 3, Zach Werenski of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Number 2, Quinn Hughes of the Minnesota Wild. Number 1 is Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche. Let's start by talking about Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar. I think here's how I see this, because I know there are many that would put Quinn Hughes number 1. I think Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes are neck and neck as far as top defenseman is concerned. So I think you could put them at 1 or 2, and I don't think many people are going to bat an eye. I think those are the 2 best defensemen in the NHL. I think Zach Werenski is definitely 3rd. I think Rasmus Dahlin is definitely 4th. And then after that, Miro Heiskanen certainly is a fine pick at number 5, but I think those top 4, it's hard to argue for moving those guys because I think those just are the 4 like top defensemen, offense and defense. But I think Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes are unquestioned the 2 best in the NHL.
No doubt about it. And, maybe Kale is a little bit more flashier at times than Quinn, and rightfully so. A sneaky guy that I think is going to be right there for Norris trophies going forward is Mo Sider. And with that size and what he can do offensively and defensively, it's just incredible. Detroit needs to start making the playoffs, because that kid needs to be in the spotlight and in the playoffs. I really enjoy his game. I really thought I couldn't believe where Adam Fox was. He had a just horrendous season. Roman Yossi needs to be higher. I mean, he's still going super strong. That kind of surprised me. People are probably going to be surprised where Jake Sanderson is, but you watch that kid's game, and there's not many that can skate like him. It's fun to watch, and clearly, he deserved to be on that Olympic team. And you look at Brock, and I mean, we talked about it once Quinn got acquired. It elevated Brock's game to a whole nother level, and people got this, that weren't, college hockey fans seeing him at the U, and then he, comes into the Wild right away and he made an instant impact. But then he gets Quinn as a D partner, and it changed his game. Just it's unbelievable. He really wasn't an offensive defenseman at the U, and now he's turned into more offensive with the Wild here, and even more so with Quinn. It's almost like when those two are out there with whatever forward group, it's almost like a 5-man forward unit out there, because they can both of them. They dance around the blue line and can get into the play, and they both have great shots and both can skate. And Brock has a little edge to him too. He can throw the body and be great back there defensively as well. So it's nice, really cool again to have 2 defensemen like that, and guys that should be long term with the Wild.
Somebody replied to this list. No Bowen Byram on this list. He's the highest paid defenseman in the league. Touche.
We'll see how that goes with Chicago. I think him having all that pressure, I don't know if that's going to go well. A name that is just egregious that he's not on there is Jacob Chikrin. I mean, he had an incredible year with the Washington Capitals. Like, another guy that just is a freak skating wise and just physical. You look at him, he can score from anywhere. And I can't believe that he wasn't a part of this list for sure.
The Brock Faber is overrated. People are in shambles right now, and it's not on this post particularly, but there was a post early in the offseason that certainly riled me up and riled plenty of Minnesota Wild fans up. It was just a simple post asking who the most overrated player in the NHL may be, and a response said Brock Faber, and I'm like, you must be out of your mind.
Yeah, what? That makes zero sense.
A guy who routinely can give you 25 to 30 minutes a night on the ice is on an incredible bargain contract, just set career highs all across the board as far as offensive categories are concerned, while also playing some of the best defense that he's played in his career. Like, he is a do-it-all defenseman who, again, much like Matt Boldy, has not hit the prime of his career yet.
Exactly, and Brock could be future captain here if this is the end of Jared Spurgeon, and he can just fill that role. And he's just beloved in the locker room there, and they need another leader with Zuccarello and Middleton gone, and so he'd be the perfect fit to continue the leadership group that's been great there the past couple of years. And it's just fun to really see his game take off. And he's a guy that's very emotional. You can see like when they are struggling, that he wears it for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that that trade has really worked out for both teams. I mean, Fiala's been great for the Kings, and it's definitely going to be weird to see him maybe on a line with Eric Halla and Zuccarello. And like you said, they're kind of getting long in the tooth. So we'll see. You never know what Ken Holland's up to. Ask Oilers fans how that went with him there, and now he's in LA. And good luck to that older squad with another former Wild player, Darcy Kemper, and that still, which is the ageless one.
He's 36.
It's amazing, right? Time is flying by. We remember him right when he was starting out, and remember like Matt Hackett, we're going back. These studs, and the fact that Darcy won a Stanley Cup is, I mean, he was just kind of along for that ride with Colorado. They were just a super team.
Either that Kings team is going to win 71 goal games and make the playoffs as the second wild card, or they're going to have 40 overtime losses. Like it is going to be a bizarre Kings team this year. It's
going to be so weird to not see Anze Kopitar's 11 out there. Yeah. It was emotional seeing him in that last game. He goes, because Colorado just made easy work of the Kings, and I'm glad he got that proper send off, because what a career for Kopitar. And Drew Doughty's still going there strong too. We'll see what they do out west there.
I have a hot take. I think the Wild will have 4 players in the top 10 on this list next year.
I like that. Yeah,
that's not even taking into account the goaltending situation, which you could argue the Minnesota Wild have 2 top 10 players right now.
Right.
We'll discuss that very notion as we finish today's episode of Locked On Wilds right after this. Final segment of today's episode of Locked On Wild. Once again, we thank you for making Locked On Wild your first listen each and every day. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any new episodes throughout the week. We got you covered all off season long as we gear up for the 2026-2027 season. It's going to be here before we know it. So get yourself ready, because it's coming. It's going to be here very soon. Reminder to join us Thursday night as well at 8:00, as Denny is going to look at a possible option should the Dylan Larkin situation not come to fruition. So you're going to want to tune in to see who is a possible plan B target for the Minnesota Wild to bolster the center position. I'll give you a hint. It's a name that has previously been discussed. So stay tuned, 8:00 on YouTube on Thursday night. Alex, the goaltending position. The Minnesota Wilds have what I think is a pretty solid combination. Solid is probably underselling it. Jesper Wallstedt, Filip Gustavsson. Filip Gustavsson has been lights out since he was acquired from the Ottawa Senators, because Cam Talbot didn't want to be part of the goalie rotation that both Gustavsson and Jesper Wallstedt are currently part of. He's been great. Jesper Wallstedt had a fantastic rookie season and looks as though he is going to take the leap and be a real viable long-term starter for this team. As far as the top 20 goaltenders are concerned, is it crazy to say that both belong inside the top 20?
I'm right there with you. Hopefully, we'll see with Gustavsson coming off hip surgery. You never with goalies and having a hip surgery, it makes it be caution, because we've seen some goalies never be the same. Others hasn't really affected. Nick Backstrom had it and then was fine, but you take a look at a guy like Robin Leonard, he never came back, and Thatcher Demko's been having issues. So yeah, we'll see, but that's rock solid 1-2, and with Gus possibly being out the first month of the season, you have a reliable veteran in Cal Pickard. So we'll see how that rolls. And this injury with Gus, it allows Jesper, like you said, to kind of take the reins, being the 1A instead of 1B, and I think he's in really good headspace, right? After the year before saying, "Hey, get an apartment," and then it in Minneapolis, and then it never really did happen. And this time he's coming into camp as the man, and we don't officially know when Gus is going to be back. So kudos to Guerin to getting a guy that's been in the league and a journeyman for a long time and can be solid in the locker room there, and as a good insurance policy if Gus were to re-aggravate something too if he comes back.
Since Filip Gustavsson became a regular starter for the Minnesota Wild, he is 12th in the league. And this is going back to the 2022-2023 season. He is 12th in the league with 101 wins in that span. He is currently 42 wins behind Connor Hellebuyck, who is he's tops in wins. Him and Andrei Vasilevsky have a bit of a cushion between the next goalie, which is Igor Shesterkin. But the fact that Gustafsson has 101 wins in 187 starts is impressive. Connor Hellebuyck is currently sitting at 144 wins in 243 games. So Gustafsson is a little ways behind as far as wins go, but he has not made nearly as many starts. Hellebuyck at 243. The only goalie who has more is UC Saros with 244, and Gustafsson's at 187.
Yeah, Gus has had to split more than those two guys, right? And those UC and UC Saros and Hellebuyck. Just think where those teams would be without them, right? And they haven't had a good backup like the Wild have had, and Vasilevsky's on a whole nother level too. But Gus just been so consistent, and he's saved the Wild a lot of games, right? That they probably had no business being in, and he's always kind of stepped up to the plate, and good for him because it was a struggle in Ottawa, but it's been a struggle for a lot of people there. And the trade came at a good time. Thank you, Cam Talbot, and an agent for the freak out at the draft for the Gus acquisition coming to the Wild. And it seems like him and Wallstedt get along great, which is it can be a goalie room. There can be a lot of egos in it, and it seems like those two get along. They're from the same country, Sweden, and so I think that really helps as well.
If you filter out some of the guys who have started like 3 or 4 games, because if I want to sort the results and say, let's do the save percentage. Well, there are some goalies that have started 2 games and have a 1,000 save percentage. So if we filter it and say since 2022, 2023, let's take all the goalies that have made at least 100 starts. If we look at the numbers there, Filip Gustavsson is tied with Ilya Sorokin and Scott Wedgwood for 5th in that span with a 912 save percentage. And then goals against average, Filip Gustavsson is tied with Igor Shesterkin for 9th on that list. So since he came into the league, he has been a top 10 goalie. So I feel pretty good about putting him in that spot. And I think Jesper showed enough in his rookie year that he should be in the top 20 as well. And it's not a stretch to say if Jesper gets off to a really good start this year and helps the Wild weather where Filip Gustavsson will be out of the lineup, the Wild could conceivably have 2 forwards in the top 10, 2 defensemen in the top 10, 2 goaltenders in the top 10 when this list comes out again next year.
doesn't get much better than that, right?
It does not.
And all we hear about now is guys on their no trade lists and where they want to go to. Is Minnesota is included with all the rest of the heavyweights, which just impressive. It makes Billy's job a little bit easier to navigate. It's tough to make these trades, right? And there's so much involved, and do the other team scouts like prospects. So that's a huge deal. I think something that's going or that's not being talked about a whole lot. We heard it the other day, but there's going to be full-time e-bugs, and so apparently who the Wild are hiring guy has analytic background. So that'll be interesting to see who they hire for that, and if it's just another
Not
voice,
me.
another voice in that goalie room to help and just for camaraderie. And yeah, I think that's a bigger deal. And now we have a Randy Moss season, 84 games. So there's more games, and we'll see how that's going to work out with as far as like splitting the goalies, and if Pickard's going to play more than we think or not, or if Jesper's just going to dominate the starts until Gus gets back. That's one thing that they're gonna have to figure out, and hopefully get off to a good start. Figuring out that rotation.
Fortunately, we talked about the schedule, and the Wild have a large amount of road games in the first 2 months of the season, but only, I believe, 3 back-to-backs. So,
Huge.
yeah, they have a lot of road games, but they don't have a ton of true back-to-backs. So you can go pretty heavy on Jesper if you want to, but I think Pickard will get a handful of starts. Like, of the first 2 months of the season, he may start 5 or 6 games, just because Jesper's young enough that you don't want to overwhelm him right off the top. You certainly want him to be hungry enough to want the bulk of those starts, but you don't want to overload his plate before the season even gets started.
Oh, 100%. It seemed like they had a good formula this past season, because both of them were. I mean, they were phenomenal. Gus had at the end of the regular season had a tough stretch, and but I mean, they were both just rock stars. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, you look at the Central goalies. We talked about it. I don't know what to think of that Winnipeg team. You mentioned some of the names, and I mean, they have some studs, but there's not a whole lot of depth.
No.
And so they've relied on Hellebuck so much, and maybe at sometimes he wears out, and so that's why the Wild are so much superior to them, is they have a 1-2 punch in Gus and Jesper, and that helps, because in hockey we always say it, the goalie's the most important position, and if you don't have that figured out, good luck making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Ask Chicago how that's gone for forever now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it is nice to see the Wild well represented on this list, even though, as many people point out in the comments, if they had an opportunity to do the list themselves, it would look way different. That's with any rankings list. It's just fun to talk about it. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Wild. Once again, we thank you for joining us here for today's episode. Make sure to hit that like button on YouTube. And follow us on your favorite audio platforms so you don't miss out on any new episodes throughout the week. Make sure to join us on Thursday night at 8 p.m. here on YouTube for Denny's latest show. And as I mentioned, a new trade target to keep an eye on. So make sure to join us there. And make sure to join us for the next episode right here on Locked On Wild, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.